Today, I'm going to be painting a Dark Elf from the Age of Sigmar range, although this is an older model, so from Warhammer Fantasy Battles, I suppose. I already did the skin, because I didn't realize I was going to paint her on stream tonight. So I did her skin, like, yesterday or something. But I'm going to go ahead and finish her now. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with finding the paint that I need. I'm going to start with Snakebite Leather as soon as I find it. There it is. Snakebite Leather. Hooray. I'm going to paint this on all her cloth or clothing or leather, whatever it is. I'm just going to make sure I don't get any on the skin that I've already painted. And I'm going to get, if it goes on the armor, it's not a big deal because I'm going to come back and paint that with a metallic color. So. Shoes are going to be this color also. Shoes will probably end up changing color later, but for now, they can be this color. As I've said on several occasions on these streams, never hurts to just paint something when you're painting, like say I'm painting all the leather right now. Never hurts to just paint the shoes the same color. That way you can always come back and just change it and you haven't lost anything. But also if you decide you just want to be done with the model or that color just works, then you're done. You're all set. It's an old model, yeah. This is a, I'm not sure what year it's from, but it's an old metal witch elf from the Warhammer Fantasy days. Not sure exactly when it was released, but I'm fairly confident these sculpts were never released in plastic. Don't 100% quote me, but I think that's correct, so judge from there. Like I said, just making sure to not get any of this on the skin. Did you use Guilliman Flesh? Yes, on the skin I used Guilliman Flesh. Forgot to mention that part. If you weren't here right at the beginning, I mentioned that I had done the skin previous to the stream starting, because I didn't realize I was going to paint her on stream. Always get yourself a lovely lady for your army. I've got many more of these ladies to paint after this one. I'm not sure how many exactly yet, but at least one unit of 30, possibly more. I'm planning on playing these in the new, if you're paying attention to the Age of Sigmar world at all, there's a new campaign series out called Broken Realms. In it, there's a new City of Sigmar, which is basically Cities of Sigmar is the old good guys of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and the new city can take these witch elves as their allies, essentially. So I figured I'd throw them in for some theme at the very least. Alright, I think that's all the leather that we're going to do. Those like bracers she has could be leather, but I'm going to do them in metal. No, you know what? I am going to do them in leather. They're really close to the metal that her weapons are going to be. And I don't think I want that much metal up there, so I will do them in leather. And just by the look of them, they could be tanned leather or metal, to be honest. My guard army has a lovely tech priestess. Also have the old metal hospitalier, but I use the tech priestess more often. Yeah, that's true. In 40K, there are often sort of female characters splashed in. In this case, she's in an all-female army. I'll be running her in an army with both men and women, but in her original army, there are only women. Although I don't know if it is 2020. I don't know what a half snake, half woman identifies as. Do they just rock out and say they're also women, or are they something else entirely? I do not know the answer. Just going to paint the little straps here that are running across her arm in this color, just so there's some notice that they were paid attention to. I'm not going to worry about them in great detail. Actually going to grab this little bit right here. Let's see. I think that's all the leather now. I think that's actually not leather right there. No, that is part of that strap. Okay. Got a little bit more in there. Alright. Cool. So now I'm going to do the metal. And like I had mentioned, they're going in my Cities of Sigmar army. And so we've got the main brunt of the force in my Cities of Sigmar army is the Corsairs. So I'm going to do her to match this guy. This is the only one I've painted so far. He's got his... kind of want to spin him around, but not really. But anyway, I'm going to match this up. So I'm going to use this sort of darker metal color to do the metal on her. She will, though, not have a Dippin' Dots cape. All the Corsairs will have the Dippin' Dots cape. She will not, because she does not have any cape on her. So, let me just respond to this real quick. Someone who should be watching my stream is messaging me while I'm streaming. So rude. So for that dark metal, I'm going to use Iron Warriors. See, I read that message and I was just like, I don't know what the heck he's talking about. I'm just not going to read that out loud. Because I don't know what could mean what or something, and I try to keep the stream family friendly, so goodness knows what might have been, you might have meant. Apex Predator makes much more sense. But you're right, half snake, half angry witch lady definitely would identify as Apex Predator. So I'm just painting the blades of their weapons, and then this vambrace here, this little circlet thing here, and then the she's got like some little bit of shoulder armor there. That's going to be in this metal color, and then the shoulder armor and the ring around her leg will get purple on him. Is this the line to vote? Yep, this is it. You got it. And then after I put that purple on, actually probably before because I'll have to let that dry, I'm going to do the handles of the weapons in a probably a bronze maybe. What did I use on this guy? I don't know if I used this. Oh, I used gold as a secondary metallic color, so we'll do gold. I like to keep things consistent across the army. And I don't remember what I did with that Corsair. I think I didn't base coat under the purple. Oh, I think I just did it over the primer. So that'll give these ladies... They'll still match the Corsairs, but they'll be just different enough that it makes sense that they're in the same army, but they're not... they're not, like, in the same unit, basically. Aside from all the other visual cues. I'm going to paint this ring around her face also. I just noticed that. It's not all her hair up there. I also have to think of a hair color. On one hand, I sort of want to do the color that I did on the Corsair's capes. But on the other, that doesn't really make sense. The Corsair's capes, these things, that's going to be this color of all the cavalry, the Cold One cavalry, and all the Hydras of the army. So, like, the skin of these beasts is what they're using for their capes. But it doesn't really make sense for the Witch Elf's hair to be that color. So I think that would just be matching for matching's sake. Which can look good in some armies, but depending on what you use it on, can just look weird and tacky. I'm sure you could come up with a story like the Witch Elves dye their hair the colors of the scales of the beast to, like, when they hunt them or something, whatever. But I don't know, it still seems a little wacky to me. Just gonna get I'm gonna call this triangle here. I think this is metal. I think it's attached by that strap under her arm. And then I think this is metal right here. It's a piece of spiked metal, which I think would make sense to be attached to her shoulder armor there. Pretty sure these ladies in combat derive their save from their ability to dodge, not from how heavily armored they are. So, if they've got half their body armored and half not, it's not a big deal. Always go Necromunda for the hair. You'll have to remind me. Is there a precedent for hair colors in Necromunda? I shouldn't say you'll have to remind me. You'll have to tell me if there's a precedent for hair color in Necromunda. Because I am not aware of it. But that would not... It shouldn't surprise you that I'm not aware of it, I'll say that. Any seafoam green coming out of this round? Maybe some seafoam green. I'll have to see. I could paint like some little algae on her base. All these guys and gals are going to have ship like decking, I guess. What is it called? Yeah, the deck of the ship. They're all going to have the deck of the ship on their base. So all female gang hair tends to be any from the rainbow. Oh, I see what you mean. Gotcha. Alright, I think this is all the metal. Just checking this foot over here. I don't think there's any metal over there. That could be metal, but I think it's leather. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it leather. Alright. So now I'm gonna grab the purple. And I will go over some of this metal with that. And hopefully it'll still read as purple, even though A, it's on a very small space, and B, it's over a very dark color already. Man, this is... Here we go. Operation Greg loses all his paints. Alright, so this armor plate down here is going to be purple. Yeah, I think this will do well. Yeah, so that would be an option to do all just hair all different colors like a real army would be in real life. Not everyone's gonna have the same hair color. Marathian Arcane Power is going to be fun. Yeah. That's a word for it. Alrighty. That sounded a lot more negative than I meant it to be. I'm happy for the people who play Marathi and who now will be able to wreck some fools with it. I'm not looking forward to playing against it, but I don't think it's bad for the game. I don't mean for my yeah, fun's a word for it, to suggest that I think they've messed up or anything. It's just going to be horrifying to play against, that's all. Just like any army is that is piloted well. Alright, so there's the armor colored purple, and it's definitely darker than what's on this Corsair, for sure. But I think when they're near each other, they'll still read as purple, especially after I highlight it. I'm going to highlight it with that same color that they're highlighted with, or that Corsair is highlighted with, so I think it'll be fine. I run Salamanders painting the common pattern, is frustrating enough. Trying to paint unique hairstyles would honestly drive me insane. That's fair. The hair would make a great... I don't know what you mean, Dylan. What's your preference? Blondes, brunettes, or redhead? Well, my preference, thankfully, doesn't need to be anything specific because my fiance has the ability to change her hair color, and it looks good in almost anything. Currently, or the most recent thing it was, is like a dark brown, sort of shimmery purple sort of color. That was on point. But I can't do purple hair on her because I just did purple hair, or purple armor, so can't really do that. But yeah, my preference is whatever Janet has her hair as at the moment. That's my preference. Alright, so what am I doing? right. I was confused where I was, but I realized I wasn't confused where I was. I was just making sure I had answered that question appropriately, and I did. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to Xandri Dust. I'm just gonna highlight all this leather in this color. I'm gonna do basic edge highlight on some of this stuff. I'm not gonna go crazy though. Oh, Seafoam Green. Dylan's got an abbreviation for his favorite color already. Gotcha. He's lying. He prefers his women with Seafoam Green. Look, if Janet came home with Seafoam Green hair, I'd be all about it. Alright, so yeah, I'm just basically finding all the little ridges in this armor and just putting a little dab of this Xandri Dust on it. Nothing major, because they are going to be in a unit of 30, so no one's going to be looking at these individually that much. I'm going to paint this, it's like, I don't know what it is, string that goes around her leg. I think originally this whole thing that I have here painted like a giant boot was meant to be her skin, and this is like just string wrapped around it or something, rope or something, but I've painted it like a giant boot instead. I think it makes the model look better, and it matches the Corsairs better. They all have like thigh-high boots on. And I'm not getting every edge either, just the major ones. Edge up here. On the side there. Maybe there. That looks good. Large numbers need only the basic primary signature. Yep, basically. No one's going to be looking that closely, so. Alright, so then I'm going to do the gold. What gold did I use? I think I used scale 75 gold. Yeah, I did. And it's sitting right here, so I must have. So I'm going to use this Necro Gold. Scale 75. Just find something to put some on. I know everyone talks about how dropper bottles are better, they waste less paint, blah, 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 blah. The style of painting that I do, that is evident from the title of this show, Straight from the Pot, doesn't work as well when it's straight from the dropper bottle, because I can't just stick my brush in the dropper bottle. I gotta find something to squeeze some out on, and then I squeeze out too much, and then whatever's left is wasted. And I know, I could put it on a wet palette, and then it would last for weeks. But that isn't how I paint. I just want to get into the color when I need the color, then put the color away when I stop needing that color. I have a wet palette. It's sitting like right there. I just don't use it. I understand how they work. I understand the benefits of them. But beyond the fact of the show name ceases to work if I start using a wet palette, I'm just not interested in using one. I would happily use one and ruin the name of the show, but I just don't like to use one. Alright, so there's that. I'm just going to do now these little, what could be leather rivets maybe, or I have no idea. I'm just going to do those in this gold color just to mix it up. And she's got some on her ringlet of armor here. Wonderful. Just a couple things left now. Straight to the wet palette. Yeah. I crack the top off my acrylic paints and dip from the tops. Yep, that's what I'm doing too. I guess, so yeah, technically it's not straight from the pot, but I'm counting this whole thing as the pot. And I dip from right there. But yes, technically I guess I should call my show straight from the top of the pot, but that doesn't flow as nicely, so we're not changing now. Alright, I guess I'll do the hair now. I haven't decided what color the hair is going to be, so I'm going to do some other details first, I guess. Where is... I've lost my white. There it is. So I'm going to use some pallid witch flesh. I'm just going to put a dot in the eyes. Oh, and then I need to highlight the purple. That's right. Alright. So I'm just going to put a dot in the eyes. More of a slash, I guess, based on this, how these guys are modeled. There we go. Wonderful. My Corsair's eyes are glowing blue. I think I'll probably make these ladies have glowing blue eyes also. Hair is seafoam green. I just don't know. I don't think seafoam green's gonna cut the mustard on this one, Dylan. So I'm just gonna take this Gene Stealer purple and highlight the armor along the edges. Again, not all of the edges, but the most important ones. She's got this weird bladed armor on her breast. I guess I'll highlight all of those blades. I didn't do these little rivets or whatever in gold, so I'll do them in purple. And then I don't even have to worry about the edge. Just highlight on these dots and we're all set. I will have to do this edge, however, because I did do these dots in purple. There we go. In the front. Wonderful. So there's that. All edge highlighted up. She doesn't have... A lot of the old metal models, I've noticed, have very... You can't see it because of how dark it is, but they have a very pronounced line going down the greave. She doesn't, however. She's very curvy, so... Don't have to edge highlight that. Otherwise, I would if it was flat like that. Or rather, if it came to a point, I would edge highlight it, but go red, then have a stream of white X-Men Rogue style. That's an option. That's an option. Hello. Hello. Deathcore of Krieg, which Elvin got all excited. She'd look scarier with a shovel, just saying. That would be something, a Deathcore of Krieg witch elf. I should start customizing my titles and sending them to everyone in the group. No matter what I'm painting. Like, if I'm painting an ogre, to Clark, Deathcore of Krieg Ogre. To Dylan, Seafoam Green Ogre. To Landon, Tree Ogre. To Michael, Elf Ogre. I'd probably get a lot of views that way. Alright, hair. I'm going to do sort of a naturalistic, red-ish, orange-ish, brownish color. I'm going to use Gore Grunta Fur for this. So will give me a good hair tone, I think. And the couple places that I've missed with the skin tone will get covered up by this pretty easily. And then she does have a bunch of ties in her hair. So I'll think about doing those a color also. Death Dwarfs of Krieg. That would be cool. I'd pay to see it. Now what? Show you set up a click... Yeah, that's right. Clickbait like a pro. That's how you do it. Once this makes it to YouTube, if I was like really pro, I'd just have... Oh, it's not going to focus. I'd just zoom in on her butt, basically, and make that the thumbnail. If I was really good at the YouTube. But no. I'll just continue to do my same thumbnails. None of us are complaining. Alrighty. There's that done. That looks good. Once that dries, I think I'll dry brush it with some orange. But just for Dylan, I don't know if he's still watching, but last time he was like, seafoam green, seafoam green, seafoam green. And then right as I went to put some seafoam green on, he left. So if he's still watching, I'm going to use some seafoam green. If he's not watching, well, that's the second time in a row he's missed it. So I can see it now. Straight from the pod, baby's got back. Great. Alright, so I'm just going to paint these. Oh, this seafoam green color is terrible. Never mind, I'm not using it. I forgot how watery it is. I don't want to go find another pot of it right now. So I'm going to use, instead of that, Baharoth Blue. This is the color that is on the Dippin' Dots capes. That's the blue color, obviously, not the orange color. I'm going to use this on the hair ties. And I'm not going to worry about painting 100% of the hair tie all the way around, just the part of it facing towards the viewer, basically. Just like the edge highlights, I'm not edge highlighting every single edge, just enough of the edge to matter. Same thing here. And this light blue goes with the purple pretty well, at least I think so. I think the light blue and dark purple go well together. One more in there. That'll work. Oh, no, there's one more down here. There we go. Alrighty. Then I will get some Granite Steel. Crazy how much those little details in the blue made a big difference in the hair in terms of giving it depth. Yeah, there's just those hair ties. So I'm going to take this Granite Steel and just do the quote-unquote edges of these swords, or these knives. These metal models didn't have the sharpest of weapons. Best you could hope for with these would be some bludgeoning, but Just get silver on the hair? Yep. Alright, so I got some silver on the hair, so I'm going to try to get that off real quick. Just going to take a wet brush and smash it for a little while. There we go. And then suck that back out. Wonderful. Silver mistake is gone. Then I'm just going to highlight the gold with this silver. Just on the extreme edges. Just to give it some pop. Right there, right there. There we go. Alright, then I'm going to take some Kislev flesh, I think. The pixelation. No, you're right. It was back for a second. Do you use washes? I'm bad at that myself. Yeah, I use washes sometimes. Contrast paint has replaced a lot of the use of wash for me, but every now and again I still do. I don't have my Kislev flesh. It's somewhere. Who knows? I was gonna highlight the skin, but it's fine. I'm not worried about it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call. Oh no, I'm gonna dry brush the hair. I'm gonna do Lugeth orange. No, where's my? There we go. Fire Dragon Bright. Dry brush the hair with this, and then what the heck? There we go. And it's not even going to really be a dry brush because I'll hit too many other things. Sort of like I don't even know what you'd call it. I'm going to call it a touch light. I'm going to touch the hair. That'll work. Nothing fancy. Probably can't even tell the difference, but I know it's there, so. Alright, now I'm going to do the base. So, for the base, I'm going to get an X-Acto knife. I'll leave it in here, actually. So I'm going to do, like I did with this guy, boards on the deck of a ship. I assume I have time for this base, but yeah, it's only 8:40. He stole my phone. Wow. Alright, so I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife. I'm just going to draw some lines. Cutting right towards my thumb, because I'm a professional. So I'm just scoring lines that are going to be boards. Forgot to cover up this hole in the middle of the base. It's fine. Not a big deal. I can fix it later if I want. I probably won't, though. And the boards don't have to be straight because, you know, who knows who was making these boards. They might be terrible craftsmen. So then I'm just going to do some cross hatches here for the ends of the boards. And just offset them a little bit. Just make sure to not go into the next board. Let's put one there. And I'll put one here. In there. That'll do. Alright, so then I've scored the base. So then I'm going to take the same X-Acto knife, but instead of using the blade, I'm going to use the back. And I'm just going to run it through these scores that I've made. Some are more effective than others. It'll just widen out the gap a little bit, make it take the ink a little bit better. Takes a couple passes sometimes because there's the back of the knife will just slip. Oops. And I think I'll do this one. Or maybe this one. You don't have to do them all because all of them are not really going to be visible. And you really probably don't even have to do this step. I just like to widen them out a little bit. Alright, so then I'm going to take any old brown. I don't remember which brown I used. I think Steel Legion Drab. Steel Legion Drab. And I'm just going to coat the base in this color. Get the little chunks of paint that you scratched up out of there. Alright, so we'll give that a second to dry. Just gonna find the other colors I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need that. I'm going to need... Nope, not that. Nope. So the colors I'm collecting are Iron Warriors for the snails, Agros Dunes, if I can find it. Ah, it's next to me. Agros Dunes, and then Guilliman Flesh. Those are the contrasts. And then Rakarth Flesh for a dry brush. So I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer. It's still a little wet. I need it to be dry. I just used Steel Legion Drab. Guys needed pants. It's a great color. Great, great color. Not as great as some, but it is pretty great. Alright, so then I'm going to take Agros Dunes and put this down on top of the whole base. This will bring out the score lines that we put in earlier. I'm realizing this is not a base conducive to streaming because of the amount of blow drying it requires, but it's okay. So as you can see, that brought out the boards. I'm going to dry this. There we go. Doing rivets now. Gas has more rivets than a Baneblade. Wow. Okay. Alright, so then I'm going to do Iron Warriors, and I'm going to do some handmade rivets here. You're going to just paint black around the rim or carry the wood color around and down? Not technically black. I'm going to do dark brown, but yes, I'm going to paint the base rim a different color. I'm not personally a fan of bringing the world of the base down onto the rim of the base. So I'm just going to find wherever these cross sections are and just to put two little dots of the silver here. Or one dot if it's hanging off the edge here. And these don't need to be perfect, just so there's something there if someone decides to look. A couple more around here probably that I've missed. Got that one. Oh, there it is. There we go. So then there's just something there. Just gonna hit this really quick with the hairdryer. And then I will take some Rakarth Flesh and dry brush this onto the base. If you want to get super fancy, you could put some wood grain and stuff into this. First, I would say sand the base because GW bases are textured. And then you could carve some wood grain into it if you wanted. This is a 25 mil base though, and I've got about 90 more to go. Probably more in the whole army. So it is not worth it to a power of 100. Alright, so Rakarth Flesh, I'm just going to go and make sort of some patches of this on here. It'll look really stark right now, but we're going to fix that in a second. Because who knows, like, deck could be dirty or scuffed or scarred or who knows. A Kraken could have puked on it. Who knows what might happen. So then we're going to take that last color, the Guilliman Flesh. This is sort of a pale pinkish brownish color. It's the color of the skin actually on this lady. And I'm just going to go over the whole thing. And this will sort of just bring the Rakarth Flesh into line with the deck color. As well as tint the silver of the nails a little bit. You'll still be able to see that they're silver, but just look like they've been getting dirty like the rest of the ship. And then I'm going to do the eyes of this chick in blue, like I did my Corsair. And then I'll do the base rim. So just going to take some Aethermatic Blue. I put a white dot on each of the eyes earlier. I'm just going to go over the eye here. Overlapping. Woo, too much. Overlapping onto the skin a little bit, but not a ton. There we go. And over here. If you use too much, you just wipe your brush off and pull some back off. There we go. See if it wants to focus. There we go. We got some blue eyes now. Kraken pukes on the nails too. Yep, sure does. Alright, so then I can see that we can actually see the model's teeth in her mouth. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Pallid Witch Flesh on them. There we go. And then I'm going to take some... I'm going to take some Gore-Grunta Brown. Tammy Faye Baker. I don't know who that is. I'm going to take some Gore-Grunta Brown and just dip my brush in my paint water. And then put a little bit of this color around the mouth. Just so there's a little bit more pinkness on the lips. And then I'm going to paint the base rim and we'll call it done. I'm going to pull her off. I'm going to get some Sigor Brown. Sigor Brown. And do this all around the base rim. This might need a second coat if you use this color as a base rim color, but it applies very smoothly because of how thin it is. And normally I do all my base rims in black, but because this army is going to be on ships, I think brown is more suited. Give that a minute to dry. I will actually dry this. I've used a blow dryer, may as well keep going with it. Just dry the base rim real quick. Close enough. It's a really dark brown though, looks ace. Thanks. Yeah, it is a very, very dark brown. So I'm just going to clamp this in here super lightly on that. Oh, it's not even. We'll just hold it. There we go. Right, bring the light down. There we go. So yeah, there she is, all finished up with her rough decking base, her purple armor, her blue hair berets, and she matches. Really? You're going to focus on the pot of paint in the background? Okay. She matches this guy. There she goes. She matches this guy so they can pal around together and everyone will know they're part of the same army. She has no Dippin' Dots cape, but that's okay. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll be back on Wednesday on the main Galactic page doing something beginner D&D board game related, and then back on Friday. I think I'm painting a orc boar boy thing on Friday if I can find him. He's somewhere in this garage. I'm not sure where exactly. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you everybody for watching.